Welcome to The Growth Show with me as your host, Joe Camerato. I am an entrepreneur who created my company, National Business Capital, from literally $0 out of my spare bedroom to over $2 billion in business loans secured for entrepreneurs nationwide. Since 2007, I have seen just about every type of business. I provide money and help entrepreneurs access capital to scale fast, but I also know that it's possible for you as you scale to replace yourself, to build systems, processes, and great teams of people that can live on without you so you can actually enjoy your life and your company can still grow. I will not only tell you the peaks and valleys of my story, but I will also bring on world-class entrepreneurs to tell their stories and share their lessons on their growth journeys. Welcome to The Growth Show. All right, so welcome to the Growth Show. I am here with an awesome entrepreneur, Jimmy, from NoFoDoCo, and he's going to take us through a facility. We're at the manufacturing plant today.
Yep.
We literally are just cranking out and making donuts.
Yes, yeah, that's what we do here.
That's
start
great.
to finish.
And they make amazing donuts. I've had his donuts. I try not to have too many donuts just because they're so good. I'm trying to be good. And I think I sent you a picture of my daughter. She had like one of your donuts and they're like the size of her head.
Yeah, they're huge.
Jimmy's donuts are amazing, but you're gonna special treat today. You're actually gonna see how these things are born, how they're started, how they're manufactured, how they're made. And then we're gonna actually go right to one of his locations and show you guys the end results. How many donuts will like one of these?
So make probably around about 350 to 450 donuts, depending on what we're cutting, either fillers or whole or donuts with a hole in it, or fritters or anything like that. But about 350 to 400, I would say. Yeah.
All right. Well, don't send me home with those.
No, yeah.
Tell us a little about yourself. How'd you get into this?
You know, we were working jobs that I think we both weren't too happy with, not very fulfilling. My wife was working at a hospital. I had worked in beer my whole life. I was brewing beer and I had some really cool jobs, but at the time I wanted something a little bit more stable. We were having a baby. So I was like, you know, I need more of a 9 to 5. So I got a job selling cars. I was in Lexus and I just couldn't do it anymore. Something must have set me off. And I went into the garage and I called my wife and I said, this donut thing that we've been talking about, let's do it. Let's just make it happen. Let's just do it. You know, you got to take the leap. We got to make it work. We had maybe like $60,000 saved up from our life savings, and we were like, let's just go for broke. This is the way you got to do it. This is the way these stories start. You know, when you hear these like
yes.
The guy in the tux, and he's like, now he's here, and it's like, how did you start? It's like, well, I had my bank account went to zero. Like, I was like, these are how these stories start. Yeah, negative. You know, I was like, this is if we're gonna do this, this is how it starts. This is how the story begins, and we have to just go for broke and make it happen. So, you know, she had a lot of faith in me and I had a lot of faith in her, and she's like, let's do it. So she quit her job at the hospital. I quit my job. I think the next day.
Wow.
We found a space in Mattituck. We went
totally
looking.
Committed, by the way.
You have to be.
Yes.
You know, right?
Yep,
I mean,
burn the boats in order to take over the island.
Yes, exactly. My wife was a baker her whole life, used to bake with her mother. In fact, that's where we got all of our original recipes from. Her mother passed away when my wife was 19, so she took all the recipes that they had growing up and they made a book out of it. So my wife and I would, if you go to our stores, there's a lot of for Patty in there, a lot of dedication to her mother, kind of being
really nice.
The soul and spirit in our business and the motivation behind a lot of our products and what we did in recipes. You know, we both had this passion. I had an entrepreneurial spirit my whole life, and I always wanted to open up a business. I always wanted to operate a business, and I've been trying forever. I've written multiple business plans, tried to get investors, and tried to raise money, and it just never really worked out. And the stars didn't align for me in that way, so I saved up a ton of money. Not a ton of money. Saved up enough money to do what I wanted to do in the most bare bones way possible.
What you think is enough, and it's never enough.
It's never enough, yeah. So we had to make it work, and we had to do it, and whatever it took, we knew we were going to make it happen. So we had limited funds. You know, we found a space in Mattituck. It was an old frozen yogurt store, and we were like, we can make this space work. Let's do it. We had no money for construction. We had no money to do anything properly. You know, to go through the proper channels and permitting and paying this and electricians and getting. So my father and I literally built the entire store out ourselves.
Wow.
Everything from the counter to the display cases. Our donut
Around
display
the clock.
case, around the clock for months. All we did was build the store out. Yeah, it was a piece of cake. You know, during the day, we'd wake up at 5 a.m. and my dad and I would work on building the store, painting display cases, counters, and then once it was beer o'clock, he would open up his cores and hang out, and then Kelly and I, my wife and I, would start making the donuts. So, you know, we have to start figuring out the recipes and how we can take it from our kitchen to the commercial space. So that, you know, that's how it started. You know, it's your typical, how'd you get here? And it's like, you know, we went for broke and we made it work. We would get there at 1 a.m. to have the donuts ready by 6 a.m. So the doors would open at 6 a.m. We'd have a full display case, but we had a line out the door. So those donuts were flying out of the display case. So we were just constantly making them from 1 a.m. till probably around 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We were just making donuts. In the beginning, I was running out of the kitchen. People were cheering because we had no donuts. So I was running out of the kitchen with a tray, and I was like, we got them, because they take so long to make. So people would just wait. They would just wait in the store. We'd have 50 people in our store just waiting, and we'd come running out with donuts. So we were making them from 1 a.m. to, you know, probably 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 7 days a week. We didn't have any help. My wife and I were the only employees in the beginning, and we had no help. So we were doing everything from start to finish. And I'm talking, at the time, we had a 6-year-old daughter. We'd wake her up at 1 a.m. She would be sleeping on the flour sacks, and we'd wake her up at 7. Yeah, it was rough.
That's amazing. I hope you got a picture of that.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff from those times. You know, special times. You know.
Well, I'm proud that you hung in there and kept at it, because your donuts are amazing.
Thank you.
And I love NoFo donuts. They're awesome. They're the best. So I'm glad that you stuck with it and everything you got going on here. It's really amazing to, you know, be making them out of your kitchen to then, you know, 1 a.m. to now in this, like, you know, great facility to be doing thousands of donuts a day. Like, you know, in the beginning, were you thinking like, you know, are we going to do 6,000 donuts for Mother's Day, you know, or more?
If you ask my wife, she would say no. My wife had very humble aspirations. She loved the art of it. She loved the craft. She wanted to make donuts. It's something that she always wanted to do. So having just a small store was her dream, and she was happy. I was always like, we're taking this, we're going to keep going, because especially the first few weeks we were open, I was like, this is a hit. People love this. Like, we can't just stop at this. We got to keep going. We got to open up another store Mid-Island, and we got to open up another store in Nassau. People are going to love this. My wife is more humble, and I was like more on the business side of it. Like, let's take this awesome thing that we built and share it with more people. Let's keep growing this thing.
I love it.
So we balance each other out pretty well. But I always saw it. My wife knew it was possible, but she was very happy with just a small store in Mattituck, you know? We've been kicking ourselves for the past 4 years. Why didn't we make cake donuts? You know,
they're easier.
They're easy, you know, they're delicious, but they're just, you mix cake batter and
I'd say you
drop it.
You made a good move. Your donuts are pretty good.
Yeah. But so you know, because we make yeast donuts, it's a much more artisanal process. There's a lot into it. From start to finish, our donuts take around 3.5 to 4 hours to make a batch. From the time that we mix the ingredients to proofing to frying to cutting, all that process takes a while. And taking the recipe from our kitchen to a commercial level was like rocket science. It was so impossible to do. It took so much trial and error, so many donuts down the drain, so many donuts in the garbage.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, to get that process honed in and get it perfect was extremely difficult. It really is sort of like an art form. You gotta fine tune it, tweak it, and get it exactly where it needs to be.
That's great. And so now this is like your process though, right? It's like your proprietary process.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Sure. Yeah, our donuts aren't gonna look like the donuts you get at Dunkin' Donuts or Krispy Kreme. Those donuts they're perfect and they're beautiful and they taste great, but they're smaller. So our donuts, being as large as they are, they're like
big,
this big. Yeah.
Remember, I sent you that picture of my daughter holding it up.
Yeah.
The donut was like the size of my daughter's head. I mean, she's 6, but still, like, it was a big donut.
That's a good reference point right there. Our donuts are about the size of a 6-year-old's head. That's about it. But yeah, it took a while to get it to exactly the way we needed it. And if you took someone that works for me and put them into another process making donuts, it would be a completely different process.
Oh, wow.
Similar underlining properties, but for the most part, the way we do it is different than the way, you know, Joe down the street does it. We do our process specifically for our product the way we want it to be. The big, light, fluffy donut. It's important for us to do it exactly the way that we have our process nailed down to get that finished product.
Makes sense. That's great stuff. And isn't it true too, like when you go from like when you try and make more like with food, like it doesn't scale the same way. Like you can't like double the ingredients if you want to make double. Isn't that right with food or
Yeah.
baking? With baking?
Food in general, baking specifically.
Baking
is
specifically,
like,
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
the science of it, it doesn't translate always from a kitchen, to a small batch to a giant big batch in a commercial kitchen. That rarely, if ever, translates.
So if you want to do from like 10 to 30 donuts, you can't just times it by 3. You got to like really critique. So that's probably where the challenge was.
Yeah.
When you were trying to figure out how to like nail it at scale.
That was the bulk of it, was that.
Yeah.
It doesn't translate. You can't just double the recipe. It doesn't work that way. Sometimes you get lucky and it'll work out in some recipes, but with our product, we weren't so lucky. So we had to, we took the recipe. You start there. It's a good starting point. We'll just take it and whatever we need to be. If we're going to do 10 times this recipe, we'll 10 times the ingredients. Test it out. It definitely didn't work, and we had to start tweaking it from there and scaling it back and figuring out where we're going wrong. Adding too much of this, adding too much of that. The proof times. There's so much in the process that can go wrong. It's not just the ingredients. It could be that now that we're taking it from this size to this size, it needs more time on the table, or it needs more time in the proofer. So it was a long process of tweaking it and really getting it to where it needed to be.
So you're saying it wasn't easy in building and starting your business?
No. I'm very proud to sit here. My wife and I are very proud to sit here at this point in our business 4 years later because of all the work we did, because it wasn't easy. It was so hard to get where we needed to be. And when you do something like that, it's nice to be able to look at what it is now and realize what it took to get here. And all the hardships and all the tweaking and throwing donuts out and frustration and long nights and early mornings and, long weeks and long hours. But to get to where it needed to be, we got here finally.
We talked about some really cool stuff today. It was really great to learn about your business and to hear your story. But what's your why? Like, why do you, what's driving you? What's making you do all this? And where what's the big plans with your business?
I think the why is the most important part of what we do. I think a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners could probably have the same feeling that I do. It's not about donuts or finances. I mean, it starts there, right? And, but I think that at the end of the day, for people like myself, where I could speak for myself, I'm addicted to the growth.
Same here.
Yeah. I'm addicted to creating something that I can call my own, that I can be proud of, and I think that's what always got me started. That's what got me started wanting to open up my own business. Was one, I was tired of making other people money. I knew that I was good at what I knew that I could be. If I put myself into something, I could make it something that I could be proud of, that I could possibly pass on to my children, set a good example for my kids, show them what is possible, what you can do with hard work and with dedication and desire and really just pushing yourself. So for me, the donuts are great. I love the donuts. That's why we started. We make a great product.
Yep.
But I love watching this grow. I love seeing what it can become. I love the possibilities. I love the next 10 years of this.
Yeah.
I love bringing donuts to a family holiday and being proud that we did this. Like we spoke earlier, I love the fact that this business, my business, provides a living for 30 plus people.
Yeah.
We have a company that we create livelihood for people.
Yep.
Like, this is incredible. Like, we're able to do this. We can step back and look at the big picture of this and be like, look what we did.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really keeps me going with the business, the growth of it. Is just, how far can we take this? Like, how much can we push this? Like, what are the limits? Where are we going to be in 10 years? And just something that I can be proud of. And I have 3 young kids, and I think how cool would it be for them to come of age and have them work through their middle school and high school years at our donut shop and watch our business grow, and then get to a point where they're like, I want to step in, I want to take over this business, I want to be involved. And to be able to share that with your children, growing it from your husband and wife to now your children get to take this over and maybe pass it on to their kids. So I think the why is something to be proud of. It's something to aspire to, something to watch grow, something to look to the future for, and really just to take the risk and something to be proud of and show my children.
That's amazing, man. That's beautiful. It's really well said. And it's really amazing because you do get started for yourself, and it's amazing when you get growing and you start, you build something and you're already doing it, right?
Yeah.
And so shout out to you, and shout out to you for sticking with it, because it's very easy to throw in the towel, and a lot of people do.
And it's understandable because it is not easy to get to where you are and to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
But it's pretty amazing, you know, when you're growing and rocking and rolling your biz, it becomes more than just you, and it goes way beyond you.
Yeah.
And it becomes about others. And I respected what you said earlier. We were, you know, just talking earlier before we got started, and you said that to me. You know, it's like, you know, that you and your wife are talking, and like how amazing is it that you're, you know, providing, you know, jobs and salaries for other people, and it's rewarding when it gets going. And you're also delivering something that's, you know, pretty amazing too, and it's a great brand, great business, and you could tell that you got a passion for it and you really love it. It also shows in your results and product. Like, you know, you can't make something that good without love, right? So
yeah,
it's really cool to see.
Thank you.
So when you guys come with us and actually check out how Jimmy and his team manufacture these donuts, let's see the stuff behind the scenes. All right, so we just came from the donut factory. Now we're actually at the donut shop. What's really cool about NoFoDoCo is, well, one, they make all their donuts. They're not frozen, so you just saw how they were all made. Those donuts come here naked, and now they're actually going to get dressed and topped here. It's a really cool process, but more importantly, this donut shop is not just like a donut shop, it's an awesome donut shop. There's some really cool things going on here, some funky art, and I just love the whole style of this place. Everything's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, we when we built the store out, we had an idea of it being like a donut museum almost, you know. So we hired one of our friends, Ricky, who does amazing woodwork, to do a lot of the artwork here. So he did a lot of the custom artwork, and we kind of called it like a donut museum. You can come here to buy your donuts, and you can also see some really cool donut artwork and stuff.
It's really cool. It's a really awesome concept, and some of the artwork in here, you know, is amazing. Like this woodwork from Ricky TV is really unbelievable, and some of the cool stuff around. I love the art pieces. So yeah, it's definitely fun and funky. But why don't you show us some of these amazing donuts?
Let's go.
All right, cool.
As you said, the donuts are typically bigger than most donuts you'll find.
Yes.
In fact, we sell minis sometimes for catering events, and the minis are about the size of a regular donut. Yeah. So we have a bunch of different flavors. On any given day, it's 12 to 14 different flavors. We have like 8 or 9 flavors that we do every day that people always want to see, that we've realized over the years that we have to just continue making, and if we don't, people are just going to ring up the phone and be like, where is this flavor? When's it coming back? So we keep them on the shelf.
Okay.
Keep everybody happy.
And you know you've got customers that really like your donuts.
Yes, yeah. A lot of the flavors are traditional flavors that you would see at a donut shop, and then some of them are flavors that my wife and I came up with when we first started, including our bestseller donut, which is our caramel coffee cake right over there. It's incredible. It's still my favorite, and it's still our best-selling donut out there. And in the beginning, when we first opened, we were just brainstorming ideas and what flavors we can make. And what I did was I started thinking about like what treats that I like what was nostalgic when I was a kid. And I used to always eat those little Drake's crumb cakes, and I was like, let's make like a crumb cake, coffee cake donut. You know?
Yeah.
So we just did it one day, and it wound up being our bestseller, and it still is, like 4 years in.
That's a power one. That's great.
Yeah.
My daughter loves the cereal killer.
Yeah, that's a popular one with the kids.
Yeah.
That one's awesome.
She loves it. She'll just sit there. It'll take her like about an hour to just eat all the
icing and the Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah, she just eats it right off the top.
That's the move that most kids do. They get the donut, it's like the size of their head, and they just eat all the icing off the top.
It seems so simple, and it's not. Like, think about all the moving parts, you know, all the ordering. You got to get all the ingredients to make it. You got to be on par with that. You have to make sure you've got enough inventory for that. You've got to know what your ordering is at each location. You got multiple locations now, right? And then you got to coordinate that plus employees. And you got to make all that work together in sync. And I think that's where a lot of people, you know, they love, like you guys loved donuts, which is great. But then there's the business side of it, which is like a whole nother animal. And I think that's where I see a lot of business owners fail, is they do love what they do and they're passionate about it. It's super clear that you're passionate, which I love to see. It's amazing. But then you got to nail the business piece. And it's getting all those things working in sync, which is really the hardest part. All those little details make a big difference, and I'm a big details person, so I love to hear that you're paying attention to those details. And I think that's what separates a great business from an okay business.
I agree. Yeah.
Good stuff.
You want to jump in there and make a donut?
All right. You think I can handle it?
I think you can, yeah. This part is not that hard. You got this. And I know your daughter really likes the Fruity Pebble donut, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So what we'll do is we'll mix up this vanilla. The Fruity Pebble donut has a vanilla base on top. And then we'll dip it in some Fruity Pebbles so you can bring one home and tell her that you made it.
Awesome. Good stuff. If it doesn't come out good, she's gonna hate me.
So you grab a donut.
Okay. It doesn't matter, top or bottom.
Top or bottom, yeah. And then you're gonna use,
Right.
yeah, exactly. Hold it just like that, and just kind of just twist it around in there. Just make sure it gets nice and coated. Again, push it a little bit more. Now
Cool.
twist it around, and then pull it up on an angle. How's it look?
Looks. I think we're all right.
I think you're good.
Nice.
Get that drip off there,
Good.
and then you dip it right in the Fruity Pebbles. Mess it around, mush it in there, coat it nice.
Oh, she's gonna want extra Fruity Pebbles. I'll tell her that I got the extra.
There you go, man.
Looking good?
You got a Fruity
beautiful.
Pebble donut. Yeah.
Voila.
That can go on the shelf. That's amazing.
That's great. I think I squeezed that one too, but it came out good.
Pinched it, but
Yeah, that's
first
awesome.
time. Not bad for your first time.
Not too bad. All right.
Yeah.
I made a donut. I just want to say thank you to Jimmy for opening up his space, giving us a really cool behind-the-scenes tour of how the donuts get manufactured. You know, back at your manufacturing plant, and then how they get made here. It's really just great, not only to see the inside scoop, but also just to see the success that you've had here in your story about how you got started, how you got here, and more importantly, where you're going. So thank you for having us. Keep doing what you're doing, and more importantly, keep growing.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it, man. Thank you to you and Grow by Joe and all your team. I mean, it's been great getting to know you, and doing this segment with you has been awesome.
That's great.
And if you guys are interested, we have a store in Bayshore, which is the one we're at right now, right on Main Street. We have a store in Mattituck, right by the wine trail on Love Lane. It's a beautiful little area. Our donut shop's right on Love Lane. We just opened up our new donut truck called the Donut Collective. We're doing, corporate events, caterings, weddings. We have the truck. We have our 2 stores. We have more stores coming. We plan on opening up a store in Nassau in the next year or 2. Yeah, look out for us all over the island.
Awesome. And if you haven't been into NoFoDoCo, definitely check it out if you're around Bayshore, if you're around Mattituck. And if you're going to have a corporate event or a birthday party or whatever, definitely reach out and have the truck show up. Jimmy was telling me it was an awesome success this past weekend, and you basically ran on a donut. So
Yeah.
really good stuff. Thanks again for having us. And like I said, keep growing. Thanks,
Thank
brother.
you, Joe. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you.